Hey, Tony Gedge, how are you doing? Live from Marbella. Yesterday, on the beach where I live, there were children and families walking around. I haven't seen anybody on that beach for 6 weeks. So now here in Spain, Marbella, children and families are allowed out for a couple of hours a day. So it's totally different to the rest of the world, where we're still told by the government what we can do and what we can't do. So I miss my children. My children are about 45 minutes away, and I haven't seen them for 6 weeks. So I really miss my kids. Anyway, Sarah Hurley, the Chief Dental Officer. So we saw the webinar the other week, excuse me, and we also have seen across social media and on the internet how you have felt let down by not having clear guidance and communication throughout this process. And she had the opportunity to respond, and she did do, on dentistry.co.uk. But I was personally disappointed with the response, because the question was asked, how do you feel that you have been not as public as some of the other officers in the health service? And she said that she isn't interested in spin doctors or myths on social media, or in fact the reality. But the reality is that that's what the profession thinks. So what a wasted opportunity to answer and to get the profession back on side, that needs strong leadership, that they need strong guidance. And today I'm going to discuss with you how to address the white elephant in the room. So we're going to talk about inspiring workplaces in an uninspiring time. So a few years ago, I published an executive briefing on the state of UK dentistry workplaces. And we found that 28%, less than 28% of UK dentistry workplaces, less than 28% were unengaged. What does that mean? Basically, people weren't happy in the workplace. So now, when you go back into the workplace, do you think that 28% is going to be dramatically lower? Absolutely, it's going to be lower. It's going to be lower because we've got, or our team have got, lots of fears, frustrations, and desires. And we need to address these fears, frustrations, and desires before they get back into the workplace. If you just open up and hope everything's going to be great, then that's not leadership. So let's learn the lessons from Sarah Hurley of how not to be a great leader, and for you, how to be a great leader. So over here, as you can see, I've got CGREAT, and I won't go through each point, but that's how to create an inspirational workplace. Over the past 15 years, I've been going into workplaces, dental workplaces, and creating and helping to sustain an amazing culture. So I've pointed out here E. So what does E stand for? I want to talk about the E today. And the E is engagement. And I'm going to give you 3 big ideas that you can start implementing now in your workplace to create an inspiring workplace rather than an uninspiring workplace. So the first thing, FFDs. So what are the fears of your team right now when they go back to work? So number 1, I can tell you, is that they're fearful that they might be working less, or will they have a job? That's the first fear. Second fear is PPE. So will I have enough personal protective equipment to not catch the coronavirus? So we need to address the white elephant in the room before we get back into the workplace. So how do we do that? Well, number 2, we do one-on-ones. So if you haven't ever been doing one-on-ones, if you've just taken the lazy dentist's practice owner's approach to doing an annual review, and that's a huge mistake. So I won't get into the nuts and bolts of one-on-ones, but basically a one-on-one is 10 minutes every month with each one of your team members. And you ask 2-3 questions. First question is, what did you like best from the previous month? What would you like to change from the next month? And then also we discuss how they're getting on with their professional development plan. And if you're really forward thinking, you will also have a personal plan that you can help facilitate. Anyway, so we haven't been in the practice. So what we need to do is we need to be doing a one-on-one. Now you might be coming up with all these excuses about furlough. They're not allowed to work. Now there's going to be at least 1 or 2 of your team that have done nothing over the past 6 weeks. They've done absolutely nothing. And you might have sent them an email of the progress and they've said, well, I'm too busy, I've got a child, whatever it is. But on their Facebook, they haven't been ill, they've been in the paddling pool with the children. They're just not engaged. It's not their fault. It's your fault for 2 reasons. 1, you've recruited the wrong person. And 2, you haven't engaged them properly in the workplace. So this CGREAT method here for creating inspirational workplaces is what is used within a dental practice with great effect. So how to build the happiness of your people. Anyway, so get a one-on-one done with your team and ask them, what are the fears about coming back to work? You can address those fears with a conversation. Look, we're going to get the best PPE. We're going to do our best to keep you working. So get the white elephant out before you go back to the workplace. Number 3 is, what is your future-proof plan? And to create an engaging, inspiring workplace when you get back, rather than an uninspiring workplace, then we need to draw out a future-proof strategy. So how are you going to future-proof your business when you get back to work? Because your team have got all these fears and frustrations and desires, the FFDs, point number 1, that you need to address. So you need to get your team, your leadership team together first and draw out an action plan of when you open. Because when you open, that patient pathway is now going to be COVID. So they can't touch anything. You've got all this protective equipment on. So you have to manage the expectations of your patients before they even come in to the practice. If you don't manage their expectations by sending them an email before they come in and a phone call of what to expect when they come in, you're going to scare them to death. So you can have a little sticker on your visor with the face of the clinician on, and also the name of the clinician as well. So I'm not going to get into all that. There's a special report that I've done, the COVID 42 strategy, 42 days of when you reopen your operations, your modus operandi. That's a special report. If you want that, let me know. So coming back to your future-proof plan, you do your one-on-ones, you address the fears, you then get your leadership team together to come up with your future-proof plan. Then you get your team together virtually on a meeting. And the big tip for you today is, before you go into the practice, you cannot just open. You have to do a dress rehearsal. So a dress rehearsal of the actual patient, COVID patient pathway before you open, or it's going to take at least a week to find your feet. Hope that's been helpful for you. And don't ignore the white elephant in the room. I'm Tony Gedge. I'm adding a little bit of sunshine to your life. I'll see you next time.